Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content I've been putting up, be sure to subscribe so you always know when a new video pops up. Now that we got that part out of the way, let's get into the video. Final Fantasy XIV is a massive game with thousands of hours of content. What I'm going to do here is break down some of the major plot points for those of you who want to know more about Eorzea, but may not have time to experience it all firsthand. This time, we're covering the second part of the Crystal Tower storyline. When we last left off, Cid had managed to break through the defenses of the Crystal Tower, giving you access to the maze that surrounds the base of the structure, the Labyrinth of the Ancients. And since there's no telling what dangers wait inside, Cid sends you inside alongside a few adventurers to make sure it's safe while he, G'raha, Tia, and the others study the elegant machinery on the outside. Inside, you face all manners of creatures, from void scent to dragons, but you and your friends overcome it all until you come face to face with a living Allegan, General Phlegathon. In ancient times, he led a host of revolutions against the Allegan Empire, and he was seen as a hero by the common people. But he was eventually captured by the Empire and was experimented on, turning him into a mindless slave. After ending the general, Cid, G'raha, Biggs, and Wedge all show up to admire both your handiwork and the impressive structure. Based off of the findings of the students of Baldesion, the Crystal Tower was built to absorb the energy of the sun like a giant solar panel. G'raha even knew who Phlegathon was, something he figured out just from hearing what kind of weapon the giant man used. Allegan history is his favorite subject, and one of the things he read said that the Crystal Tower is guarded by heroes of the old world who were resurrected and augmented by Allegan technology, something he could have told you before you went inside. But you didn't die, and you have cleared a path to the tower, so you all head back to the camp to plan what you're going to do next. And I mean that in the literal sense, because we all know that you're going to be doing all of the heavy lifting. Back at the camp, after giving a play-by-play of your adventure in the labyrinth to Rambros, he takes what you told him and combines it with what G'raha discovered to come up with a full analysis of what's been accomplished so far. The expedition is going well considering the fact that it just started. The encounter with the Allegan general inside the labyrinth along with the other defenses is a little bit disturbing, however, and it proves Cid's earlier fears, that the calamity didn't simply reveal the Crystal Tower, it woke it up. The tower's secrets are far too dangerous to share with the world. Short of blowing the place up, the only way to make sure it doesn't end up in the wrong hands is to find a way to turn it back off, this time for good. But if you want to turn it off, you have to figure out how it works, which means you'll have to go into the tower itself, and you know that'll be dangerous, probably even more dangerous than the labyrinth. With that in mind, Rambros decides to study the tower's defenses before sending you inside, and of course Cid and his crew are up for the challenge. While they work, G'raha decides to go and train his body so he'll be strong enough to join you in the battle this time, but Rambros stops him and sends him to help Cid. He pouts like a baby, but he will do as he's asked. So everyone heads off to do what they need to prepare for your trip into the Circus Tower. While you're all busy, the man who told you about the expedition in the first place goes to survey the wreckage of the tower's external barrier. He's quite impressed with Cid's handiwork, and the path you cleared into the tower allows him to detect a power at the top, something that's even more powerful than the ultimate weapon. And he should know, since he turns out to be the Garlean scientist who had worked under Gaius on the ultimate weapon project, Nero. When you make it back to the camp, Rambros lets you know that they haven't made much progress with the tower. They found a lot of new things in the labyrinth, but they still haven't been able to get to the tower. The entrance to Circus Tower is guarded by very advanced technology that they haven't been able to get through, and until they figure out how to get inside, there's not much for you to do. As luck would have it, two oddly dressed individuals called Unai and Doga arrive at the camp before you leave. They say that they were sent by the students of Baldesion to help, but Rambros hadn't gotten any messages saying they were coming. And with the incident at the Isle of Val, mainly the explosion of magic that moved the island somewhere else entirely, the students of Baldesion have more important things to worry about. And those worries can be summed up in one word: Eureka. For those of you who don't know about it, you will. But that is a story for another day. Doga assumes that the incident is the reason why the message didn't reach Rambros, but he promises that they are there to help. G'raha's eye, the red one, begins to ache, and although he dismisses it as nothing, Unai notices that his eye is the same as theirs. The red eyes are a trait unique to Allegan royalty, and it has been passed down in G'raha's family for generations, which explains his fascination with the Allegans. He's a descendant of their race. Only one child of every generation is born with the Allegan Eye, and his search for knowledge has been all about finding out what it means and why he only has one. So he's more than eager to hear anything that the newcomers have to say. Sadly, they don't know much other than the fact that those born with those eyes are bound to the fate of Alec, which is why G'raha has been drawn to the ancient empire, and it's the reason why they are there. Since it can't hurt to let them help, Rambros welcomes them to the group and takes you all to see what you can learn about the entrance to Circus Tower. Cid's waiting by a massive door, and after the newcomers are introduced, he breaks down what's going on. The large door leads to the Circus Tower, but it's sealed and there's no way to break through. He's used everything from a pickaxe to a cannon, and nothing's even left a mark on it. The only hint they have on how to open the door is a device on the door with a man and woman carved into it. But for all they know, the device could be decoration or just a fancy doorbell. The two newcomers simply walk up to the door, lift their hands, and poof, it opens. Clearly they are more than they claim, something you should have picked up on from their full set of Allegan gear, but before they can explain, Nero shows up. Cid's shocked that the man's still alive after the battle at the Praetorium, and Nero doesn't blame him for being uneasy about him being there, since he did try to kill you with a really big hammer last time he saw you. But he's no longer welcome in Garlemald. After his failure with the Ultima weapon, the 14th Legion is defunct, and if any of them go home, they'll probably be executed. Since Nero likes being alive, he's been wandering around Eorzea. He ended up hearing about what Cid was working on, and decided to come and join him. As a sign of his willingness to work with you, he reveals what he knows about Unai and Doga. The Crystal Tower was a symbol of ancient Allegan power, and access was only given to royalty, and a few others. From what Nero learned, only people with royal blood can open the door. The Emperor and his heirs were literally living keys. Unai and Doga are clones of those heirs. They didn't want to lie to you, but without proof, if they had come out and said what they were, you probably would have thought they were crazy. They have a lot more to tell you, so you all head back out away from the tower to talk, and Nero goes to follow you, although Cid's not happy about it even after the man gives him an Allegan tombstone filled with information that the 14th Legion had gathered about the ancient empire. Once everyone is gathered, Unai and Doga tell you everything, and to understand it all requires a bit of a history lesson. The Allegan Empire had reached its peak long before they were made. At that time, the Crystal Tower stood, absorbing the energy of the sun and powering the entirety of the empire. But the ease of life that the tower brought caused the empire to grow stagnant. Without a strong leader, the empire became a shadow of its former self. And wanting to restore its nation, a scientist named Amon made it his mission to return Allag to his former glory. And he believed that only one man could do it. So he worked to resurrect the founder of the empire, Emperor Zand. As part of the experiment, Amon made clones of the Emperor's descendants. The Unai and Doga standing before you are a part of that very experiment. Historical texts talked about the reign of two emperors named Zand, and everyone believed that the second was someone named after the first, but no one had ever guessed that they were both the same man. But Amon succeeded in resurrecting Zand, and he did restore the empire, but he wanted more. In his first life, Zand had wanted to bring the entire world under Allegan rule. He failed the first time, but since he was given a second chance, he has no intention of failing again. Knowing that he needed more power to achieve his goal, Zand sought the power of darkness. He transformed the Crystal Tower into a research facility to help him study and harness this new power. Cid remarks that it's fortunate that all of this happened so long ago that it's no longer a threat, but Doga shatters your hopes. Emperor Zand is still alive and well inside of Circus Tower, and he's not happy that his empire fell. Drawing on the power of darkness takes a lot of energy, too much even for the Crystal Tower. To increase its power, the moon Dalamud was made and launched into the sky to draw in the sun's energy and channel it into the tower. Unfortunately, they miscalculated, and a surge of energy caused an earthquake that caused the calamity that brought about the Fourth Umbral Era and destroyed the Allegan Empire. But as the Crystal Tower sank into the earth, Amon used magic to stop time from flowing inside the tower's walls. Everyone inside, the Emperor included, were all put to sleep, and they stayed that way until Dalamud was messed with during the Meteor Project, which caused the tower to reappear, and Zand to awaken. His first act was to summon the darkness that he hungered for, and like so many others, he was corrupted by it. And even though his empire is long dead, he still plans on conquering the whole world. That is why Unai and Doga exist, to fulfill the wishes of the original Unai and Doga, who they were cloned from, and kill Zan before he destroys the world. When they woke in the tower, they realized that they couldn't beat Zan on their own, so they went out to hunt for allies. And because they saw you fight your way through the labyrinth, they know that you can help them beat the Emperor. Of course, saving the world once again falls on your shoulders. Only this time, you get to face off against the man who founded the greatest empire in history, and his soldiers, including a scientist who not only figured out how to revive the dead, but managed to stop time itself. And that's where we're going to stop for today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the next part of the story.